Hi everyone, it's Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer, and today we are going to be talking about forgiveness. This is such a powerful and important topic, but I don't want us just to look at forgiveness the way we've always looked at it. As always, we need to go to our guides and say, what's the big picture here? What are we trying to accomplish? And how can we keep ourselves safe and yet still engage in forgiveness? So this may be a completely different look than the way you've looked at forgiveness in the past, and I just want you to stay with me. After we look at the blog post and understand what our guides are sharing with us, then there are a couple of things that I have got to share with you. I have to make sure that you understand what I'm saying. This is too volatile a subject. It has been screwed up too many times. I've seen people in my practice get really, really hurt because they misunderstood forgiveness and they put themselves in a position that was pretty harmful. So I want to make sure that we're all on the same page, but yet we understand the value to us of forgiveness. If you take nothing away from today, but that little snippet, forgiveness is for you. We don't care that the other person is being forgiven or that they may have done something and yet you're saying to them either energetically or in person, I forgive you. The other person is not really that important in forgiveness. It is all about you. You're the one that is generating your own energy, and you are the one that is either going to be hurt or benefit from that energy. That's why forgiveness is about you. Forget about the other person. They are not the most important person in your life. You are. Okay, so let me flip over here, and here's the way the guides have chosen to explain forgiveness to us. And as I said, we want to see what they say, and then I've got to elaborate on a couple of points. I must hammer this home. I have seen too many people be really, really hurt because they didn't understand the concept of forgiveness. Okay, and I'm not talking about the person who is a bully or continuously does acts against another person. I am not concerned that the person who is a bully is having a difficult time dealing with forgiveness. That's not true. I am concerned that they're having a difficult time dealing with forgiveness because the reason that they're exhibiting that behavior is because they have a problem with some area of their life. Perhaps it's self-worth, or they're acting out something that was done to them. But it is not the bully that we're going to concentrate on, or the abuser, or the other person. It is you, the person who feels that forgiveness is you have to run around to everyone saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, or I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you, I was wrong. No, that's not what we're talking about. The type of forgiveness we are going to look at today is empowerment. So here we go. Dear ones, forgiveness when used properly can be one of your greatest tools, but it's not a catch-all of energy that you should use without understanding. Once you understand the power you wield with forgiveness at your disposal, you will never again be able to believe yourself to be weak or vulnerable. Let us begin by looking at what forgiveness is not. Forgiveness does not indicate that the behavior you have forgiven is now considered acceptable. We'll get back to that, but please hang on to that. You are not agreeing that that person's behavior is wonderful. Harsh words, cruel actions, abuse of any kind is not and never will be acceptable. When you forgive someone, you're not saying, I've forgotten all about what happened, so you're free to do it again. No, forgiveness releases the heavy negativity that binds you to the perpetrator, but it does not signify that the behavior was acceptable. The wrong action is still the wrong action. Your forgiveness simply allows you to move ahead instead of being tied to the past where the incident occurred. Let us repeat before we move forward. You can forgive, but that does not signify your acceptance of the forgiven action. The action is still forbidden, wrong, and hurtful, but your forgiveness sets you free from the action and the pain it caused. The only person that we are concerned about is you. You must be okay first. Then you can create better relationships in your life. Now let us examine why forgiving is so beneficial and why hanging on to anger and resentment is so harmful. First, understand that you're not protected from your own emotions. If you're feeling happy, you will automatically strengthen your body and place yourself in a place of high vibrational alignment. If you're unhappy, or let's go deeper, angry, resentful, bitter, vengeful, because of something that was done to you, you may believe your negative energy of hatred is only being directed outward toward the person who hurt you. But because you're the one producing the emotion, it's your body that will be affected by it. In other words, when you're feeling rage, shame, blame, or fear, you have a corresponding physical reaction in your body. That negative emotion causes a negative reaction somewhere in your body, which puts stress on the body and may cause damage to the body itself. You may have been thinking about the other person when you generated those emotions. But since you're the one feeling them, you will be the one who feels the effects of the emotions you're generating. Of course, at some point, you may take action against the person who hurt you, and then they would feel the pain as well. But no matter how much pain you cause another, you'll not be able to escape the effects of the emotions you generated in your own energetic field, and you'll not be able to escape their negative effects on your physical and emotional bodies. In addition, you will have pulled your spirit down from a place of high vibrational resonance to a place of low vibration. Keep in mind that the law of attraction mirrors or returns to you that which is a match to your vibrational signature. Therefore, if you're wading through the muck of anger, blame, guilt, fear, shame, resentment, you can go on and on. You'll find yourself experiencing more and more to feel badly about. It can't be any other way, because law of attraction states that you'll receive what you put out. This is why forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools. When you forgive, when you say, what you did was wrong, but I release you from this act energetically, I'm forgiving your participation, you're saying, I no longer want to stay in the low registers of the vibrational scale. I'm freeing myself from everything that's holding me prisoner and releasing myself from negative self-judgment, self-condemnation, and blame. I'm giving myself the freedom to move forward without dragging behind me that big boulder of shame, resentment, or fear. Once you forgive even the most reprehensible acts, you become victorious. You've given yourself freedom and an opportunity to begin again without the pain and the weight of this situation that happened yesterday, but is robbing you of your joy today. You must let go of that knife which you're plunging into your own chest every time you review and repeat the events that happened to you. Letting go of that pain doesn't make the action acceptable. It doesn't mean that you must engage with or socialize in any way with that person who hurt you. But it does mean you've taken away their power to continue to hurt you. No matter when the hurt occurred, it occurred in the past, and your review of that pain, your hatred of the guilty party, continuously brings that pain forward from the past and right back into your present. If you want to repeatedly injure yourself, think about all the wrongs that have been done to you. We guarantee that their constant review will reward you with buyer's remorse. Their constant review will keep your body in a constant state of tension that will place great stress upon your body. This stress will result in a physical breakdown, and now you'll have both your anger to deal with as well as your sadness about your physical illness. This steady decline in every area of your life could have been avoided by changing your attitude about everything you're feeling badly about. When you forgive any action, you immediately cut ties with the negative emotions that will be generated by holding on to unforgiveness. Once those negative emotions are no longer being fed, they can't be sustained. There's no fuel to add to their fire. So they naturally subside into nothingness, and you have free space. You can invite in emotions and energy that will support and uplift you. However, while you're feeling the negative emotions, there's no room for love, joy, or peace, and no way to move up the vibrational ladder. You've got to make a conscious decision to feed one emotion or the other, because they cannot both be sustained. If you try to hold on to both of them, you will at best go nowhere. But at worst, you will drag yourself further from your dreams. The action, the crime against you may have been horrible, but you will only add insult to injury if you insist on reviewing and replaying what happened while generating anger and resentment. Remember that you receive what you put out. You must make a conscious decision about what you want to receive. The other person may receive your vitriol while they are in your presence, but you as the creator will receive the end product of your unforgiveness the entire time you're generating that emotion. You don't get to walk away from your own emotional program. It's not what you're doing to them. It's what you're doing to yourself. You're not paying them back. You're placing yourself in a prison of your own making by holding on to events of the past you believe are unforgivable. Choose to forgive and set yourself free, so you may enjoy the sweet reward of love, joy, and peace. You're worth the effort, and you deserve to be free. Now, believe me, in my practice, I have heard horrible, horrible stories of abuse and crimes that have been committed against other people. I understand there are things that appear to be unforgivable. But you must remember, it is causing you to be harmed all over again when you hang on to that energy of unforgiveness. You're holding yourself tied to that person as though you want them to be your best friend. By simply forgiving them and saying, I'm no longer energetically entwined with you. You have given yourself a free pass. Now, a couple of points we need to remember. When you are practicing forgiveness correctly, you are not accepting responsibility for someone else's behavior. Wrong is still wrong. They are wrong. We are not saying, oh, it's okay. You can do that again. No, they may not treat you that way again. Absolutely not. You are simply removing yourself from that energy. You're also not accepting responsibility for their behavior. I don't want you to say to yourself, well, if I were acting more nicer, they wouldn't have hit me or made fun of me, or, okay, take responsibility for your part. If you are acting horribly, say, that was wrong. I really should have been more loving and kind. But don't take responsibility for their behavior. They had no right to come at you with all of this venom. You can always improve your own behavior, but you must not take responsibility for theirs. They must take responsibility. They must say, hey, that was an inappropriate response. Hitting someone because they said something that I didn't like, that's unacceptable. You're also not to acknowledge them as strong and yourself as weak. Oh, he's so strong. I can't be honest with him. Well, perhaps that person has a problem and you cannot be honest with them. Don't stay in a relationship with them. But please don't tell yourself, well, I'm weak and vulnerable and I have to have them in my life because if I don't allow them to hit me and abuse me, I won't be able to make it on my own. Change that story and change it quick. You are strong, you are capable, you are magnificent. Stop telling yourself you're weak. You're just as strong as they are, but you've got to stand up and understand and realize your own strength, your own value. You're also not obligated to keep that person in your life. Nowhere is it written that if somebody is bad to you, you are obligated to keep them around. I don't suggest that you go out and start picking fights with people who are not nice. Just walk away. You don't need them in your life. If there is somebody who is constantly abusive, take a step back. Why would you want them in your life anyway? And I don't want to hear you tell me, oh, I don't have any other friends. And if I don't take the abuse they're putting out, I won't have any other friends. The minute you make space for more friends by letting go of this abuser, you will find a way to meet new people that match your new vibration of I am valuable. The only reason that abuser was in your life is that you were running the program on some level, I'm not valuable. And now I know a lot of people are going to get upset and say, what about child abuse? Okay, I get it. I understand where you're coming from, but even the child must be taught that they can and do have power. It is the belief that they are weak and the parent is strong that allows this unhealthy relationship to continue. The parent believes that they can do anything to the child and the child has no power to say anything. I want every child educated to know that it's okay to fight back and to say no and to tell on that parent. They are not to be locked in silence. They are to be honored and to know that they too are powerful. The truth is, if you are an abusive person, You are a weak person. You are someone no one can admire. You are weak and a poor excuse for humanity. And you need to be called out and explained, hey, you're worthless and you're weak. And I'm going to take you down because I'm not afraid of you. I'm just as strong as you are. So please don't stay silent. Please don't allow this person to continue to abuse you. If you cannot get away from them, say something. Do not stay silent. Now, let's take one last look at what forgiveness is going to do for you. Forgiveness protects you from the harm of anger and resentment that you are generating in your own body that you're hoping will someday get to that other person. But it must affect you first because you're generating it. You're living in that constant low vibration of anger, frustration, resentment, shame. And the low vibrations will wear away at your physical well-being. You may end up with an illness or some autoimmune disorder where the body doesn't even recognize which cells are healthy and which cells are not, and it begins attacking itself because it's so confused. It's confused because it's been living in a low vibration that says, oh, life is terrible. Life is so unbearable. I don't like anything about my life. When that happens, you are not speaking to yourselves and saying, be alive, we're excited, we're filled with love and joy, we're powerful. You're saying you're weak, vulnerable, no good. I'm sorry you're here. You are not communicating the message of health to yourself. You may be believing that you are getting back at that person, but the person that gets affected first is always you. So you're not offering forgiveness so they feel better. You are offering forgiveness so you feel better. That abuser has a problem. They need to do something to change their behavior before they're going to feel better. Your forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. It is the gift you give yourself. And truly, the other person doesn't have to be present. You don't have to go stand in front of them and say, I forgive you. Call them into your energetic space. The Egyptian law of Ren says that when you call a soul, they must come. Get into a deep meditation. Create a circle of white light. Call them into that circle and say, okay, I forgive you and I am cutting all ties, all negativity. The only thing that I will allow to stay between us is unconditional love. You may not be capable of it, abuser, but I am. Doesn't mean I want a relationship with you. It just means I'm no longer going to be bound by the negativity that is pulling me down and away from my dreams. And the last thing I want to say about forgiveness is it allows you to be victorious. How powerful are you going to feel when you can speak to that person who has been a bully, an abuser, or unkind to you in some way, and whether it's in person or just in your energetic circle, and you say, I forgive you. I am completely free from you. You can never again influence me in a negative way because I know how fantastic I am, how powerful I am, how fabulous I am, and you and your negativity are not going to be able to touch me anymore. I am a a child of God, and I am delighted to stand strong and be proud of myself. Now, I have a couple of examples of forgiveness, but as always, if you have a question, if you want to comment, please raise your hand. I do want to share these examples with you and these questions. If no one else has anything that they would like to offer, this is a very, very sensitive topic, and I understand if you don't feel that you are able to share. I just want to give you the information and the support. So I'm going to give you an example of unforgiveness that my helpers showed to me. My helpers are my guides, the angels, the energetic realm, whatever you want to call them. They always show me funny examples, even when the topic is heavy, because they love to be light and joyful, and they want you to go up into those high joyful ranges as well. So I said, okay, give me an example of what unforgiveness may be doing to what are we doing to ourselves when we practice unforgiveness? And immediately they showed me a picture of a hammer, and I was hitting myself in the head with the hammer. And they said, every time you think of that person that has hurt you, that incident, that moment in the past, because it always has to be in the past, it's already happened, and you bring it forward to your present, to your now, you are hitting yourself in the head with a hammer. You are saying, oh my gosh, I want more of this pain. Let me review it. Let me think about it some more. Let me go over it. Let me analyze it. Just let it go. Let it go. By allowing that negative tide to exist between you and the other person or this incident, you are continuing to hold yourself in the low vibration, and in the low vibration, you are in essence hitting yourself over the head with a hammer and wondering why you're still hurting. Well, you're hurting because you are reviewing this incident or this conversation with this person, and it's the same as hitting yourself in the head with the hammer. Just say, I'm done. I forgive this whole thing. I forgive that person. I never have to bring them into my energetic field again. I am empowered, but I refuse to hang on to this negativity because I know the best that I can hope for by hanging on to hurt is to hurt myself, because I'm going to receive the emotions that I'm putting out first, and maybe somewhere down the line, the other person will feel my anger, but I'm going to feel it and pay for it first. David, I see you have your hand raised, so.
Hi, Marcia.
Hi.
I love this topic, not because of it, of the hurting part, but well, I can only share that I've been through all you're talking about in the past, and recently, the last 2 or 3 months, I was foolish enough to get involved in a situation with my dad attracting all that stuff again. So I went down in a sort of a vicious negative circle. But it also showed me like what I had overcome in the past. And forgiveness is so beautiful because I was able to forgive so many people. And sometimes what I notice is when you raise your vibration, there can still be some dark hidden shadows in your system that are holding you back. And so sometimes things come around to show you the lesson. And yes. to raise that part of that vibration that's still behind, that needs to be lifted. And that, recently I've seen that. I've forgiven a couple of people, and it was so beautiful. It was like doors were opening and portals were opening, and I lost a lot of weight within the last 3 weeks, and I couldn't believe it was all energy, all feelings that we store in our bodies. We carry around all the negativity, the anger, and we carry it with us. And it's so freeing to be able to forgive. And like you said, you don't have to do it for that person or somebody else who has hurted you in the past, but do it for yourself.
Please.
Become free.
And David, several brilliant points that you brought out. First of all, there's still one person that you have not forgiven. And I wonder if you know who that is.
Well, I have to get back to you on that one.
It's you, because you said, "Oh, foolishly, I did so-and-so." That wasn't foolish. That was really quite brilliant. It gave you the opportunity to see where you were still holding on to a low vibration, and you were wonderfully, beautifully, magically able to, through the interaction with these other people, recognize where the problem was and let go of it. So,
awesome.
Brilliant. Forgive David. That was not a mistake. That was a beautifully orchestrated plan by your helpers, your higher self, however you want to address the energetic realm, saying, "Hey, David, we want you to not hold yourself back." Mm-hmm. And thank you also. That was another thing that I didn't even think to add. Yes, sometimes we will hold physical representation of that anger as excess weight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
or sometimes we feel like, okay, well, I am completely vulnerable. I have no power, so I better shield myself, or I better put on this weight that's going to put a drain on my body and make me feel unhappy with myself because it's my only protection. Mm-hmm. So the minute we step into forgiveness for ourselves, David, and for others,
yes, Marcia.
we then say, hey, I'm powerful. I'm empowered. I don't need this baggage of weight or anger or guilt or shame or blame. It is a low register emotion, and I don't want it. I want to be up in the high place. I'm powerful. I have so much to offer. I can't be dragged down by this idiotic thing that happened. But let's take a look now, because so many people, I'm going to mute you for a minute because it's echoing. So many people say, but you don't know how I've been treated. If you'd experience it, you wouldn't be able to forgive either. And I want to acknowledge, I do understand that you were treated horribly. But by constantly reviewing the fact that you were treated badly, you make that your present reality, and you keep yourself stuck in that low vibration. I want you to move away from being treated badly and into being treated like a queen and a king. So that's why I'm advocating that even if it was horrendous, the treatment, that you forgive it and let it go. You are not agreeing that it was okay. Nowhere in the forgiveness scenario are you to say it was okay for you to hit me, hurt me, or abuse me in any way. No. Wrong will always be wrong. I can't say that enough. However, you hanging on to the anger will only hurt you. And David brought forth that brilliant point. He was even hanging on to weight because of the anger. So that was a very visible byproduct of the negative emotion. What are the invisible ones? What if you have a life-threatening disease that's allowed to grow in your body because it feeds off anger and dissatisfaction and sadness and all of those low vibrations? Think what you're doing to yourself. Now, the other thing people tell me is it's too hard. The memories just keep resurfacing. In the beginning, it will be difficult. You've been living with this, telling this story for a long time. And yes, you have a right to tell this story. It was painful. It was horrible. But I'm going to ask you to create a new story where you're free and your life is wonderful and beautiful and you have everything that you want. And I want you to start telling that story. Tell the story of your perfect life. Don't get caught in the trap of repeating those things from the past that happened that hurt you. Get away from that. Learn to uplift yourself every way possible by telling it as you want it to be in the present tense. You are the only one in the driver's seat. I can't drive your car for you. If I could, I wouldn't, because then you would miss out. But I can help you and tell you that if you are convinced that you must repeat that story because it's all you know, you can never move forward and you are looking at hurting yourself in many, many ways. So please begin practicing and telling a new story, a better story, a story that supports you. And we as a community will support you. We believe in you. Now another person said, but they took everything from me. How can I forgive that? All I can say again is, if you want them to continue taking from you, don't forgive them. Continue to give your power away to them. Continue to hurt yourself internally and in the physical realm. Keep all of the good things from you by hanging on to your unforgiveness. But if you want to have those things restored to you, if you want your life to be filled with joy, forget about them. Forget about what they did. Just say, I forgive you. It's over. You're out of my energetic field. I'm bringing joy into my life. When joy enters your life, things can begin to shift in a positive direction. But as long as anger and revenge and resentment are running your life, law of attraction is going to serve you up more of the same. More people that will hurt you. More people that will take advantage of you and take whatever little you've been able to accumulate. Don't let them take your life energy. Take it back by cutting the cords with them. And here's one of the most painful things that I experience as a counselor, and that is being abused as a child. And this person says, I was abused as a child, violated and destroyed. I was abused as a child. They violated and hold on, I'm not reading this correctly. I was abused as a child, violated and destroyed. The memory of what was done to me has made me strong. Now I fight for what I want. Okay. I so feel your pain that you were abused as a child. We can't go back and undo that. And even though I should say I'm delighted that you're strong, the fact that you're saying, I fight, means you're still in anger mode. You're still holding on to that abuse, and now you want to get even with everybody else. You're going to beat them down. I am not feeling love and joy and peace when I say those words, which means that the person that is saying, I have to fight for everything I want because of what was done to me, is keeping themselves stuck in that low vibration. They would truly become strong if they were just to say, I have to forgive what was done to me. I will never honor that person. I may never even come to a place where I can love that person. But for my own well-being, I must forgive what was done to me and find a way for me to move forward that is loving and honoring of myself. You are the most important person in every relationship because you are the only one that's in every relationship. I had a gentleman tell me that that I was oh my gosh, let me get the words right because I had a good laugh about this. I put a post up and said, the most important person in every relationship is me, myself, and I, because I know I can never love another until I love myself. And I had someone tell me that I was a narcissistic bitch because I was so self-centered. Now, luckily, I was in a really good place, and it was very easy to forgive this gentleman for making that comment. I could see his pain. I could feel how much he had been hurt. But the truth, I was just stating a very simple truth. In any relationship in which I enter, I am the one constant. Not my dog, not my husband, not my kids. I'm the one constant in that relationship. Therefore, if I want a good relationship, it behooves me to love myself, to forgive myself for all of the mistakes that I've made. And I've made plenty. And I had the whip out for a really long time, and I used to beat myself up. Oh, look what you've done. And wouldn't you know, pretty soon after I got that whip out, I had another thing to feel badly about. I had made another mistake. I had caused another difficulty in my life because that's what I was focused on. As soon as I put the whip away and said, hey, you know what? You've really screwed up. But time to move forward. Time to put your focus on what you do want. As soon as I was able to do that, things began to shift in my favor. And I started attracting better relationships, more loving people, better opportunities. I was the one constant. I was the one that needed to forgive me and to create a way for me to move forward that was self-loving and honoring. So all I am asking you to do with the idea and the understanding of forgiveness is to put yourself first. Let go of the other person and what they did to you. No matter how horrible it is not as horrible as what you are doing to yourself by holding on to that resentment. Create a loving relationship with yourself. Forgive yourself for being vulnerable and having a mindset that said it was okay for you to be abused. Forgive them because they're too stupid to know any better. I mean, let's face it, you can't be real bright if you run around being cruel, mean, and doing horrifying things to people. That is not a way to move yourself forward or to get anybody that wants to spend any time with you. You got to be really screwed up. So I feel sorry for the people that are such disasters. I don't let them in my energetic field. I do feel sorry for them. I cover them in a blanket of pink and gold light, but I've learned to establish boundaries and say, okay, you want to be that way? Oh, okay, fine. I totally know where you are. I see where you're coming from. I forgive you for anything you did to me, but you're not allowed in. You don't get to come near me and pile a whole bunch of doo-doo on me. I will take responsibility for whatever part I played in it previously, so I won't do it again. I'll say, okay, ooh, wow, lesson learned. I so get it. And I'm so delighted that I can see this area that I went off in the wrong direction. But I am not giving them a free pass to come on back and try it again. That was the old me. And the old me was hurting me. And you know what, David? I was heavier at that time. I didn't even think about it. But yes, I was heavier as well. So I was piling on anything to try to protect myself because I felt that I was weak and vulnerable. And they were strong because they had the power to hurt me. I just took away their power and removed myself from their energetic field. And let's just have a show of hands. Would you rather be in a relationship that is abusive? It's *2 to raise your hand. Or would you rather be by yourself? If you would rather be by yourself, *2, raise your hand. If you would like to, okay, hands down. And now, if you would prefer to be in an abusive relationship just so you can have company. Thank you. Nobody said, oh yeah, I want to maintain an abusive relationship just so I can have company. If that's your thinking, you need to go into the heart and clear out the area where you are holding on to that program that says, I'm not worthy of having fulfilling, loving relationships. That is not the other person's problem. That's your problem. You're saying, oh my gosh, I'm not so great, so I'll put up with anything. Get rid of that program. Get rid of that negative self-talk. I want to start hearing you say, I'm magnificent and I deserve the best, because you do. I don't care what you've done in the past. I don't care how people have treated you in the past. That's the past. It's over. From here, right now, this moment, going forward, start putting it out there. I'm magnificent. I'm wonderful. I deserve the best. But make sure you get into the heart, clear out the area where you have held on to the baggage that says, I'm not worthy, because as long as you're running that program, you're not going to be very effective convincing yourself that you're magnificent. So get in there and do the work. Clear out that heart space. Ask yourself, why in the world would I ever believe such a lie? And then start telling yourself who you really are. Magnificent. A divine being. A piece of God is in you and everyone and everything else. So how can you be anything less than incredible. It's impossible. The divine is in you, it's in me, it's in all of us on this call, in everyone everywhere. So each person is magnificent, but it is up to us to own it and to let go of that negative self-talk that we have been saying to ourselves based on a past trauma or negative thinking or a limiting belief. You've got to go in there and clear it out. Nobody can do it for you. I can show you, I can help you, I can steer you, I can guide you. That's my work, what I do for my purpose. But if you're not willing to come with me on this journey, no one can do it for you. I can't go to a guy on the street and say, I can see that who's yelling, and I can't go up to him and say, I can see that you're really angry, and I want us to just take a moment here and go into that heart space where you're holding on to all that anger, and let's just release it. The guy might say to me, lady, you are so friggin' crazy, get away. And I would have absolutely no effect on him. Maybe later he would say, some crazy lady came up to me and said, you really need to go into your heart space and clear out that anger. Maybe he would have looked at it, probably not. I would not have had any effect on him. We have free will. We get to choose what we allow in and what we put out. I want you to choose to allow into your body only those things, into your energetic field, only that which feels good and is supportive of you. And try to put out only that which feels good and is supportive. Because law of attraction doesn't go on vacation just because you forgot. It is always working. So we need to pay attention and make sure that we are putting out that and focusing upon that which we want to receive. I want you to believe you are magnificent because I know that is the truth. Each one of us is magnificent. But I also know that you cannot hold on to your old negative programming, that old story, and the belief that you're magnificent and move forward. Because you've been practicing your old belief program for a really long time, if you're an adult, it has to be at least 20 years. If you're my age, it's a heck of a lot longer. So if you've been practicing that old negative belief program for a really long time, and you say, okay, today I'm going to believe I am magnificent and powerful, and you practice that for one day, you will not have made a change in your energetic field. The best way to do it is get in there, get into the heart, and clear out the heart. Then at least you'll have free space in which to work. But if you don't want to do that, you are looking at a very long period of time in which you must override that negative program that you are already running and that you have been practicing. So please don't expect that you can say for one day, I am magnificent, and your life is going to turn around. You've got to be consistent. You've got to be committed. And if you really want to move quickly, you must get rid of the old programming that is a big boulder in your journey. And because we're talking about forgiveness, let me go back to that for a minute. We must forgive all of those people that have hurt us, including ourselves, so that we're not holding on to the anger and resentment that we believe we're putting out to those other people, but that is really hurting us, that's causing us to break down physically, mentally, and emotionally. And David, I'm going to unmute you one last time. Hold on, let me see if I can get this less echoey.
Yes.
Okay. Just, I want to say thank you so much for sharing that. Probably one of the smartest things you've done in a long time was to invite these people in, have them take advantage of you or treat you in a way that was unacceptable so that you could grow.
Yes.
Now, please don't believe that I am an advocate for, hey, sign up for abuse because it will help you grow. No, everything has a purpose. And hallelujah, David, I'm excited that you could find in the midst of this not so great thing something really wonderful. That made it easier for you to forgive too.
Yeah.
And that's the key to a really joyous life. Take whatever it is, no matter how stinky it is, and I'm sure, David, you did not enjoy that period when the abuse was happening. But, you take a look and you say, okay, this thing really smells, and I don't want to, I'm tired of smelling it. How can I get something good out of it?
Yeah.
If you look for it, you can find the good, but you had to look for it. I'm sure, David, you just didn't wake up one day and say, oh, I'm so delighted that I've been abused.
Nope.
You had to really go searching.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing that with us. And now we know that is something that you're never going to allow going forward.
No.
You've experienced it in a very unhappy way and got rid of whatever was calling that. And I can guarantee you that if somebody, and it probably won't happen because you've changed your vibration, but if somebody were to come wearing that same clothing into your life, you would be quick to say, gee, I think I need to create an exit strategy here. So anytime we put ourselves in negative situations or experience a failure, it is my hallelujah moment, because then I get to say, oh my gosh, I don't have to experience this again. I figured out what I don't want in my life. I don't want people that will be abusive. I don't want to hold on to resentment and anger and bad feelings. I want to be free. I want to feel light. I want to be excited. And that's my hallelujah moment, is when I take that ick and say, okay, what do I know now that I didn't know before I experienced this? And how can I use it to move myself forward? And I guarantee you that you will find something good about everything if you're willing to look. So, David, please make sure you forgive yourself. Big hug coming your way. If you were closer, I'd run over and give you one personally.
I know you would.
You've got to trust that you're going to give yourself one for me.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing that brilliant, brilliant insight.
Marcia?
Yes.
Can I say to all the listeners, like, we all deserve a good life, and it's time to choose us first.
Hallelujah. That's another hallelujah. Oh, David, you're so on today. Yes. What are we thinking by saying, well, it's okay? That used to be my big line. Oh, it's okay. No, it's not. I don't want a crappy life. I don't deserve it. I want the best of the best. And I want everyone to have the best of the best. We live in an abundant universe. What are we thinking by taking less? We're thinking we're not powerful. We're thinking that we're weak or undeserving. And that's just a big fat lie. So no more lies. Let's start telling ourselves the truth. I deserve the best. I am powerful and I can create the best for myself. Hallelujah. All right, that's all the time that we have for today. I want to thank everyone, and especially I just realized I cut my microphone off. Oh, gracious. Okay. So if you enjoyed today, I want you to join us next Friday and every Friday. We're here at noon Pacific time. Next week, we're going to be looking at concentrating on feeling good. We're going to examine all of the benefits we get beyond the obvious of you feel better. Let's take a look at what it's really doing, what it has the potential to do for us in our life so that we can constantly make that better decision. And please go to my website, sign up for the email list. I've got a lot of big projects coming up. I want to keep you informed. You'll get information about each one of these Friday calls, so you'll be able to access it easily. You'll also get a reminder, which is helpful. I know that I always need them when I sign up to go to things. It's Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer. Marcia spelled M-A-R-C-I-A. Marcia Martin, thehearthealer.com. Join us. Get on that email list. You'll get a daily inspiration. I'm going to be presenting some classes. Haven't been doing them recently because just overwhelmed with students that I'm helping, but really feeling that there's more that I need to offer. So doing a little restructuring in my own business so that I can offer you more. Thank you all for being here. Again, it's Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer. Marcia Martin, thehearthealer.com. If you would like to email me, it's Marcia, M-A-R-C-I-A, at marciamartinthehearthealer.com. Thank you all for being here, and until next week, sending you all a big hug.